everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of June. I read 7 books this month from 6 different authors in 4 different genres and in 4 different formats. And with all of that, that was only 60% of my June TBR completed from my TBR jar. I bumped it up this month to 5 books instead of 4, and I only read 3 of them, which it's not bad, but it's not what I was doing before. So hopefully in July, which it is July, hopefully this month we can step it up a bit and complete the TBR jar. I read 3,845 pages and I had an average of 4.5 star ratings, which is really good. So I didn't read as much this month, but they were all really good books. I think the lowest rated one I had was like 4 stars. So it was very good. After all of that, let's dive straight into it. The first book I read this month, I don't actually have. I want to buy it soon, but I borrowed this one from my library. It is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. And I don't even know where to begin with this one. I really, really loved this book. Following who we think is just some kind of rebel kid, and then it turning into the story of a nation and then the story of an empire within this fantasy world is so amazing. I'm so ready to start the next books in the series. I think it was just so cool, and it was just epic in a different way. I didn't know you could do that with a book. I really loved how it felt like we were literally flying over this world, flying through time, and then we would just occasionally drop into the story to learn more specific tidbits. And then we'd pick up, and then we'd move again, and then we'd drop in again at a different character and a somewhat different time. It was a relatively short time period that we were reading over, but we were still progressing in that way. It was really interesting. We follow some really, really interesting characters in this book. I was surprised by how much I liked them, but also really disliked them. They were very complex. They felt very real. And I liked the progression of their character arcs and their stories. It just felt right for what the story needed, and it was very good. I am really excited to see what happens next with this series, and I am ready, once we have the money saved, to just go and buy the rest of the series and start flying through it, because it's so good. The next book that I read is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Let's see if I can get this to stand up. We'll see. It might fall. This book is a contemporary romance. It follows 2 authors, one of which is dealing with writer's block. So they challenge each other to write in the other's genre. So one, January, our main character, is a romance author, and she is challenged by Augustus, or Gus, to write in literary fiction, and he needs to write in romance. And we follow them and their friendship and how they eventually fall in love. It's got a slight background of enemies to lovers, but not really. They're not really enemies, so I wouldn't call it enemies to lovers at all. But there's some annoyance towards each other, and then they fall in love. I think this book was really good. I've also learned through this book and Book Lovers, also by Emily Henry, that I really love it when romance books surround the topic of books. When the main characters are literary agents or they're authors, editors, anything where they're going to be talking about books and creating books. I'm saying books so much, but I think this is one of my favorite subgenres of romance. If you could, or I don't know what you would call it, not a subgenre, but yeah. I really enjoyed their friendship and their eventual relationship. I thought they felt so real and vivid, and I just really enjoyed the writing style and the plot. I just was so entertained the entire time. I think that this would make a really, really good rom-com movie. I know that one of her books, People We Meet on Vacation, got adapted and is a movie, but I think Beach Read would be an excellent one to do into a movie. Now, after Beach Read, I dove right back into the Cosmere and finally picked up Rhythm of War. This one has been a long time coming. I tried to read it back in December of last year, and I could not get into it for whatever reason. And I finally told myself that I want to move on with the Causeway. I want to find out what's happening and get further in the story. And I finally made myself pick it up, and I enjoyed it. I knew I was going to enjoy it. I was just being so stubborn because one of my friends told me a joke. I think I said this in the reading vlog about this book. One of my friends told me somewhat jokingly that it's all so and so's, one of the characters' fault. Like it's all their fault. And I mean, he wasn't entirely wrong. And I feel like that intimidated me, and I didn't want to pick up the book. But once I finally did, I enjoyed it. This one was pretty good. It was very technical, where we were exploring very in depth the magic system and how everything works, which can be very good. I just don't think it was my favorite. Out of all the Stormlight books that I've read so far, this one is unfortunately my least favorite, but I think it is still good. I really love learning about how everything worked, how the magic worked, and how their technology worked. It was awesome. I don't know, it just wasn't my favorite. And that's not to say it was bad. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was still good. It just, it was a lot. After Rhythm of War, I went to a lighter book and I picked up It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn. This is the 7th Bridgerton book. It follows Hyacinth Bridgerton and Gareth. I thought these two were so lovable and so just fun to read about. I really enjoyed this one. This one actually had a third act conflict that wasn't completely stupid either, where it could just be solved right away if they just talked. So I thought it was very interesting. I love that they also weren't, I guess, forced to marry, like how in some Bridgerton books they like are caught in a scandalous situation, so they are forced to get married. This didn't happen, and I enjoyed that. I like that we didn't have that trope with it. Yeah, there was a really interesting like subplot going on that helped the two of them bond, and I thought that was really fun. So, yeah. My camera cut out. We're fine. So, the next book that I read in the month of June was The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. There we go. I finally picked this one up. I had it sitting on my shelf for a couple months, and I am so glad that I read this one. This one follows a older woman named Sybil, and it follows her life through the letters that she writes, the emails she sends, and everything that she receives. When you read a story like this following an older character, you expect them to really be set in their ways, but I found that we really saw some great character growth from her, and I thought it was just a very well thought out story and well executed story. I think Sybil was a very enjoyable character to read about. I wouldn't say she was entirely likable all the time. Like, she kind of got on my nerves, but it was still good to read about. She was very interesting. This book made me want to, and did make me, pick up my pen and paper and start writing letters to the people I love. So I think I've got like 5 letters, 5 or 6 going now, where they're sent and I'm just waiting on some responses from people, and they should be arriving like any day. I'm really excited about that. I think it was really sweet seeing how this woman's legacy and everything we know about her got left in these letters, and we got to learn what she did with her life, who she was, people she loved, that she was friends with, and everybody that she touched. It was a very fascinating way to tell stories, and I think it was executed fantastically. So yeah, I gave this one a 4.5 stars. It was so amazing. The next book that I read, I dove back into romance, and I picked up Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is the 3rd one of her books that I've read, and I'm still enjoying them. I gave this one 4 stars. This was the lowest one of the month, but I think it was because it's just not, it wasn't 100% my type of romance, but it was still good. It was still good. I still enjoyed it. I feel like with this book, a lot of their problems, a lot of their conflict could have been solved if they had just sat down like mature adults and talked. Like an entire book where you're just thinking, just talk to each other. Their original problem, because they were dating before, that's part of the premise, is that they were dating in the past, they were engaged, and then they broke up. If they had just sat down and talked while they were still engaged, they would have been married and having their happily ever after way before this, and it would have been perfectly fine. And I don't know. It just was kind of annoying. It was still, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it, guys. But I was annoyed by the miscommunication. But overall, I liked the premise of like being forced to be around each other for your friend's sake and staying at this beach house and doing like a vacation with all your friends and having to pretend to still be dating. Like it's really fun. I loved it. I just wish they talked to each other. So on to the last book that I read this month. It was Morning Star by Pierce Brown. I doubt this one will stand up. Oh, okay, I was wrong. This one I gave a 4.75 stars. And it was just so fantastic. It was so good. I am so excited to continue with Red Rising and move on to like the second era. I don't know how it works. It's like a trilogy and then there's 3 or 4 books or something. I think it was a really good ending to this first saga. I was really surprised by the ending. There was a bit of a plot twist that I did not see coming. Like the whole last chunk of the book was just, my mind was blown. It was so good. Also, with the premise of Red Rising, you're watching a red, low color, somebody who is a slave, essentially put on a mask and pretend to be the Golds, who has at the very top of the hierarchy. They are the best of the best. They are physically stronger, smarter, like they are there. We see him infiltrate them, and essentially his goal is to completely overthrow the government and get rid of this hierarchy system and make everybody equal again, which, I mean, that's a great premise. It's awesome. And I loved seeing in this first saga how it was done. I think it was a very unique way of doing it. And it's not where I thought it was going, but I'm very pleased with how it went. And I'm really excited for Saga 2 when they're essentially rebuilding things and figuring out, okay, we changed all this stuff. Now we have to figure out how to rule. I'm excited. I'm ready. These were the 7 books that I read in the month of June. What did you guys read? What did you think of the books you read? Have you read any of these books that I have talked about today? What were your thoughts on them? What did you rate them? I'd love to know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye.